Hello, hi everyone, happy Sunday. Welcome to Emotions Games live in English. I hope you have your favourite drink ready. I have a cup of tea today. It's Sunday, it's 5 p.m. and it's time to drink some tea. Today we are going to look at training the right side of our brains, as we usually do every time we are playing emotions games. Why do we train the right side of our brain? It's where the emotional intelligence is developed. It's where we can train something that hasn't actually been trained when we were children. So we have always had lots of training on mathematics, logic, science, all the kind of stuff. It's really useful, very, very useful, rationality, but it's never been trained in combination with emotional intelligence. First, I want to try and give a little understanding of what emotional intelligence is. Okay, so emotional intelligence was something defined by Daniel Goleman, and Paul Ekman is another person who defined emotional intelligence. There's loads of people who've looked into it, but he's one of the most famous. And he defines emotional intelligence in 5 domains. And then these 5 domains are what we in today's world can call emotional intelligence. So the first part of emotional intelligence is recognizing our emotions. You know, what do I feel? How do I feel? So recognizing those emotions is, let's say, step 1 to emotional intelligence. It's called self-awareness. So being aware, like, how do I feel? I feel sad, happy, angry, excited, etc. Okay. The second domain, as described by Daniel Goleman, is managing the emotions so they are appropriate. This is really important because it helps us also to distinguish between this idea of is emotion negative or positive. Well, in my opinion, there is no negative or positive emotion. They're all helpful. They all bring us into a decision that we need to make, maybe in a moment or in our lives. So managing those emotions means not suppressing them, recognizing them, and knowing what to do with them, or allowing them to guide us, not overtake us. They need to be appropriate. So, for example, when I'm driving, I'm a very angry driver. So when I do get angry, it's not the appropriate kind of action, maybe, that I need. So in that moment, I need to be good enough to manage that emotion. Say, okay, how can this help me? How can being angry because of another driver's action help me? It could be that I modify my driving so I feel safer. So this is what we mean by managing or making the emotions appropriate. Okay. The next one, number 3, as Goleman described, is called motivating yourself. So it's part to do with delaying gratification and impulsiveness. So, you know, trying to motivate ourselves to do something or even not do something. Then we have empathy. Everybody knows about empathy, but what does it really mean? It means recognizing the emotions in other people, being able to say, oh, I recognize that you're feeling that emotion, and also being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And then the last one, which I think is the summary of all emotional intelligence, is handling relationships, interpersonal skills. And when I say relationships, I don't mean romantic relationships. I mean all types of relationships. Relationships you have with your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your work colleagues, everybody and anybody. So a relationship doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship. So why is this important? Why is emotional intelligence important? Well, emotional intelligence is important because it helps us go through our everyday lives and live healthier relationships with people. And again, relationships with your boss, make it healthier, with your employees, with your next door neighbours, with your husband, with your wife, with your sister, with all the people around you, and it starts off with a relationship that you have with yourself. So training with these cards is also a way to help us have a better and healthier relationship with ourselves. If you want to know more about what we do, I have some of the information up here. Now, you may think, why is one backwards and one okay? I couldn't understand if you could see it back to front or whether you could read it normally. So I stuck both of them up there. So you can go to @Emotions Games on Facebook and on Instagram. You can find us there. #Emotions Games. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We do lives in Italian, lives in English on Sundays. I think we can start playing right now because we have enough people on. And yeah, so today I want to have a really quick little warm up. I am on my iPad today, and I don't normally do it from my iPad, so this is going to be an interesting experiment for all of us. I'm going to show you the metaphor cards today because I want to work with the metaphor cards. Now, there are 20 metaphor cards that we have in our pack, and we use metaphors because it helps you to visualize things that maybe you find not so immediate, and visualizing, imagining is something that also helps you train the right side of your brain. Okay, so we're going to start off with a little warm-up exercise. So I'm going to pick a metaphor at random, and what I'd like you guys to do is think of nothing, just feel. Okay, so in this exercise you're just feeling, you're in the moment, be present, don't consider anybody else, just think about yourself, and say the first thing that comes into your mind, the first thing that is for you. Okay, there is no wrong or right answer. Remember this, there is no wrong or right answer. This is a personal exercise that we do to train ourselves and our emotional intelligence. Okay, so I'm going to pick a metaphor at random, and I want you guys to say, I am whatever it is. Let me give you an example. Okay, so the first one is smell. Again, if you see it backwards, apologies. Smell. You have to say, I am, and the first smell that comes into your mind. The first one that came into my mind is fresh cut grass. I am fresh cut grass today. Okay? Does it make sense? It doesn't need to. Don't question what comes to you. Allow it. Let it come. It's absolutely fine. Whatever comes to you is fine. There is no wrong or right answer. It's just an exercise to help us train our emotional intelligence and also help us to connect with ourselves. Okay, the next one. Mode of transport. Today, if I were a mode of transport, I would be a speedboat. I am a speedboat, bopping along the sea very fast. Okay, let's see if I'm putting the right. Okay, ready? The next one. If you want to join in, you can write them in the comments and tell everybody what you are, what smell you are, what mode of transport you are. You can join in. Hi. Okay. Animal. Today, if I were an animal, I'd be a little mouse. A little mouse in a field. A little mouse in a field. So, the three metaphors that we have so far. Animal. Mode of transport. And smell. Okay. So, remember, there is no wrong or right answer. We're just saying exactly what comes to our mind. Okay, so we have a few comments. We have somebody who says they are the smell of rain. Wonderful. That really lovely smell of rain. Definitely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So there is no wrong or right answer. Remember, whatever comes to your mind is perfect. The next one. If you were a utensil, a work tool, what would you be? Close your eyes. First thing that comes into your mind, a hammer. A sledgehammer, one of those really big ones that you use to knock through walls. I am a sledgehammer. Okay, so I am the smell of freshly cut grass. I am a speedboat going along the sea. I am a little mouse in a field. And I am a sledgehammer. Okay, we have somebody who also said that they were a mouse and a fork. Okay, right. The next one, sound. Close your eyes, think about nothing, let whatever comes into your mind come. I'm the sound of a buzz. Bzzz. Today I am the sound of buzzing. Bzzz, like that. Okay, let's go to the next one. Take a sip of your drink. If you have gin, wine, tea, whatever, take a sip, relax. We're here to play and enjoy. Okay, the next one. What work of art, book, film, painting or song would you be? I am the film My Girl and also the song My Girl by The Temptations. Today I am my girl. If you've seen it, wonderful. You are my friend. It's one of my favourite films from when I was a child, and one of my favourite songs. Okay. All right. So far we have had smell, we've had mode of transport, we've had animal, work utensil, sound, and work of art, which could be a film, a movie, a book, a painting, a song. Okay. So we're just warming up before we get into the other exercise. The next one, an atmospheric weather condition. I am a tornado. I am a small tornado that's not destructive, but is whirring around, going around and round and round and round and round and round and round. I am a tornado. So why do we use the present person? Why do we say I am, and why do we use present simple, like in the moment? When we use this language, all the cells, all the cells and energy in our body actually become present. They actually become in the moment, and that's where we need to be right now. You're taking some time out just to be with yourself. You've chosen to take this time to work on yourself, to be in a position to be able to train and develop your emotional intelligence. So what better way to do it than to be present, than to be here in the moment, working on yourself. So thank you firstly for all taking your time out to work on yourselves and be part of my personal growth as well, because these exercises are fantastic, not just for you but for all the other people around you as well. You start to increase and develop your personal and emotional health along with other people. So it's actually a really wonderful thing, and these games can be played with people having a cup of tea, having a drink, having an aperitivo. So there are loads of different ways that you can play these games. Okay, all right, this is the last one, and then we're going to start playing the game. Okay, musical instrument. A xylophone. I am a xylophone. I am a xylophone that kids play with. The one I have in my mind is the one that my baby sister used to play with. So I am a xylophone. So we've got some feedback here from Irene. She's responding to the atmospheric condition or the weather. She's also a type of wind. So I said tornado and she said wind. Okay, so let's quickly go through these again. We had sound. If you were a sound, I think I said buzzing, yeah. Utensil, I said a sledgehammer to knock through walls. Animal, a little dormouse. Transport, I would be a speedboat. Smell, I said, oh, somebody help me, what did I say? Fresh cut grass. Work of art, My Girl the film and My Girl the song. Atmospheric condition, tornado. And musical instrument, I said a xylophone, a children's xylophone. We've got somebody here who said there would be an acoustic guitar. All right, fantastic, good work. All right, guys, so we're working on the metaphors and we're going to stay working with the metaphors, but I also want to introduce you to the emotions cards. Now, emotions cards, there are 18 demanding emotions, 18 friendly emotions, and 4 mixed emotions. What I mean by demanding is generally there is a conception that these emotions are difficult and they do sometimes take some warming up. The friendly emotions are ones that in general people maybe are more inclined to go towards. So we're going to play with the emotions cards today. Now, just to help you, the ones with the red type of background are ones that we call friendly emotions, and these ones are a little bit demanding. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle these cards, and what we are going to do is associate the metaphor of landscape, with an emotion. I'll turn over an emotion, and I would like each person to be free to just say the first thing that comes into their mind. What emotion is connected to this landscape for you? Remember, this is personal. You're in the moment. This is personal to you. It is not important if there's if something's arrived to you and you don't understand it. That's not important right now. We're training the right side of our brains. We're training the idea of connecting with our emotions. That's all we're doing. We're not questioning anything right now. Okay, so landscape. Okay, the first emotion that we are going to connect with the landscape is enjoyment. Take a breath. Let whatever picture come to you, let it arrive. Don't judge what comes to you. So for me, the first landscape that represents my enjoyment, not enjoyment in general, my personal enjoyment right in this very moment, is a fairground. It's one of those traditional fairgrounds that you get in America, like in the film Grease at the end, where they have all the Ferris wheels and things. So for me, it would be a fairground. So if you guys want to add your comments, you can put them into the comment section. Close your eyes. Let the first thing come to you, and whatever comes to you is fine. Okay, so you need to associate landscape with enjoyment. Close your eyes. What is your enjoyment in a landscape right now in this very moment? Okay, we're going to move on to the next one. The next one is vulnerability. If your vulnerability right now is a landscape, what landscape is your vulnerability? Okay, so my landscape for vulnerability, the first thing that came into my mind was an image of a very industrial landscape with a river that's polluted. So I saw smoke coming out of the factories, and there's a river and it's polluted. It's not a nice vision. But that's the first thing that came to me when the word vulnerability appeared as a landscape. Now, Irene, I think Irene is still responding to godimento, I'm not sure, to enjoyment, sorry, speaking in Italian, for her landscape, because she's written city skyline. Okay, let me check. Yeah, so I think that's for thing. Vulnerability, I've said an industrial landscape with a polluted river. Okay, still sticking to the theme of metaphors and landscape. The next one is hate. If my hate were a landscape, all I see is a dark street. Cobbled streets, dark. That's all the vision, that's the kind of landscape I have in my head of a dark street. Okay, so remember that metaphors are a way to help us connect to that imagination, to the emotional part of our brains, the right side of our brains that we don't normally train. So whatever comes to you, it comes to you. You can't question it, because there is no wrong or right answer. You know, we can't say, is this right, is this wrong? Whatever comes to us, comes to us. That's how it works. We have Irene who says vulnerability is montagna innevata. Unfortunately, I don't know what innevata means in Italian. I need to get onto word reference and have a look to see what the translation is. Pardon? Snowy. I've just been told it's a snowy mountain. Vulnerability is a snowy mountain. Yeah, so I can speak Italian, but I'm not fluent enough sometimes for some of the words. But hey ho, we're not here for me and my Italian. We are here for you and me and for my emotional intelligence. All right, so moving forward, we are connecting our metaphor of landscape to an emotion. The next emotion I have is happiness. If my landscape now were happiness, it would be, I've got the fairground in my head. It's come back again, but this time I'm on a Ferris wheel with candy floss looking at from above. So my happiness would be, again, a fairground with candy floss on a Ferris wheel. It's okay, Irene, thank you very much. She's trying to explain in the translation. Okay, so in Italian and in English, right? So yeah, the candy floss, the Ferris wheel coming, looking over above would be a representation of my happiness as a landscape. So let's do a quick review. We've done happiness, we've done hate, vulnerability, and enjoyment. Okay, so we're going to do another emotion. The next emotion is dejection. If my dejection in this moment were a landscape, I've got hospital in my head, a hospital room, but a surgical hospital room. Okay. Not questioning it at all, although the instinct is to say, why? I'm not going to question it. That's what came into my head, the room, a surgery room. It's not really something that maybe you would describe as a landscape, but it's what I've seen when looking at dejection. Okay, so if your dejection, if you're feeling that uncomfortable feeling of feeling down and feeling disconnected is a landscape, what landscape would it be? Okay. Do the next one. Frustration. Frustration. If your frustration in this very moment were a landscape, what would it be? Motorway traffic that is moving constantly and very fast. So I'm not stuck in traffic. It's frustration that's moving very, very fast. Just fast moving travel. Lots of cars, late night, lights on, frustration. Yeah. Okay. So let's do a quick review again. We've got landscape, frustration, dejection, enjoyment, vulnerability, hate, and happiness. So all of these games that we're playing right now, the one we played before and the one we're playing now with the metaphors, can all be played at home. They can be played when you're having dinner with friends. They could be when you have an aperitivo if you're in Italy, having a drink, having a cup of tea, like this one. Or they could be games that you play with your family. So it could be family night game. Okay. We've got frustration is a polluted river. Okay. Let's go with the next one. If your sense of guilt were a landscape, what landscape would it be? My sense of guilt is a cold landscape. It's just lots of snow. Lots and lots of snow. Fresh snow. It's fresh snow. It's just there recently. The one that crunches under your feet. So my sense di colpa, my guilt, is a fresh snow landscape. Okay. Going to move on to the next one. Jealousy. Close your eyes, breathe. My jealousy as a landscape is a waterfall. A small one, not very big one, a small waterfall that's just continuously pouring down into a river or a lake. It's like a little lake. Okay. So my jealousy today is a waterfall coming down from the rocks, a small one. Not like Niagara Falls where you can see all of it, but the ones that come out of rocks. We have Irene, her guilt is burnt grass. Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, the next one. If your gratitude were a landscape today, what would it be? If your gratitude were a landscape, what would it be today? So you can close your eyes, let an image come to you. My gratitude is a British seaside. I know that sounds crazy to loads of people because like the seaside in England, but yeah, the British seaside where you have the long piers, seagulls flying, fish and chips in the air, you can smell it, and it's sunset. British seaside at sunset. That's my landscape for gratitude. Okay, let's do a quick review again. So we have gratitude, we have jealousy, we've got guilt, we have frustration, we have dejection, enjoyment, vulnerability, hate, and we started off, no, I think this is happiness. We didn't start off with that one, but okay. The really good thing about this game is also the way that we can see how different people feel different emotions. So they are the same emotions, we have the same name and same vocabulary for these emotions, but we all feel them differently. We have different ways of feeling them, different ways of manifesting, demonstrating and showing these emotions. We also have different ways of recognizing these emotions in other people and recognizing them within ourselves. And the beauty of this exercise when you're playing with other people is connecting with these other people and thinking, oh wow, we actually are feeling this emotion very differently or sometimes similarly. And that's what I think is wonderful about games like this and training your emotional intelligence. It helps you to understand how we have different sensations, different perspectives, different feelings, different emotions, and that's what makes us an individual, and that's what makes training our emotional intelligence even more important, so that we can have interactions and relationships with other people, because we're understanding our own emotions and understanding the emotions of the other people. Okay. All right. We have gratitude. If gratitude were a landscape, it would be a beach with sunset at 6 o'clock. Fantastic. Sounds wonderful. Okay. The next one. If your landscape were love, what would it be? What would your landscape for love be? First thing that came into my mind is the countryside, like walking into the countryside, lots of wildflowers, the road isn't quite smooth, yeah, just being within the countryside. Okay, so if your love were a landscape right now, what would it be? Remember, there is no wrong or right answer. Whatever comes to you is absolutely fine. It's perfect, actually. It's not just fine. Whatever comes to you, comes to you. That means you're in the moment, you're focusing on yourself, and you're training your emotional intelligence. You're being present. You're connecting with your emotions, and you're working to give yourself the tools that you need for a better way to relate to yourself and to other people, to then have healthier relationships. Okay, the next one. If your solitude were a landscape, what would it be? So the first thing that came into my mind was of a piazza, a square, don't know why I'm speaking Italian, a square, and a statue in the middle of this city, and there is no one. There's no one in this city, there's just a statue. And the statue is of a girl, like a little ballerina, in the middle of this square, and there is no one else around. So if my solitude were a landscape, it would be this city square with a statue in the middle. We have Kiara that says sweet hills, and I believe that is related to love, if I'm not mistaken, because there is a little bit of a delay on the comments, but hey ho, it's not going to stop us from playing. Okay, moving forward to the next one. If your pain were a landscape today, what landscape would your pain be? Closing my eyes, letting my pain in this moment. Something red, but liquid. I don't know, it might be magma from a volcano that's like melting, but it's not aggressive, it's actually like coming down very sweetly. Irene, love for me is a very high mountain. Okay, good. Waste paper basket, a waste basket. I think that's solitude from Chiara. Okay, very interesting. All right, good work. Okay, so very quick again, another a quick recap is the word I'm looking for. I think I need to put something in my tea. Okay, landscape, pain, solitude, love, happiness, hate, vulnerability, enjoyment, dejection, frustration, guilt, jealousy, gratitude. Okay, moving on to the next one. If your distaste or disgust were a landscape, or is a landscape today, what landscape is it? Irene says, pain for me is a burning forest. Okay, so close your eyes. Let the feeling of disgust that's in you right now, first image that comes into your mind. Mine was a pie eating contest. watching a pie eating contest is a vision that came into my mind right now when I saw the emotion disgust, and I let it come to me. Okay. All right, perfect. So we're going to move on to the next one. Pain is a burning forest. Pain is people in the park with masks. Okay. All right. Anger. If your anger now, today, in this very moment, is a landscape, what landscape would it be? I see a road winding up like that, just lined with pine trees. It's not an aggressive landscape at all. It's actually quite calm and peaceful, but that's the first image that came into my mind when thinking of anger. Again, I'm not questioning why. It just is what it is, and I'm connecting with the anger, the feeling of anger I have in this moment. So that's the image. Windy road, pine trees, very American, very sort of, or maybe not even American. Those the scenes you have in the car adverts when the car's going along. Okay. We have here, Irene, disgust is a polluted lake. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Whoever's sharing, thank you very much. It's really appreciated. It helps us also to get a real idea of how we do feel these emotions differently, a visual image of how everybody feels emotions differently, and just how important it is that we understand this and connect with this concept. Okay. Anger is a mountain with a landslide. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay. Here we go. The next one. Mistrust. If your feeling of mistrust is a landscape, what landscape would it be? My mistrust, if it were a landscape, would be trick-or-treating on a street on Halloween. That's the image that came to my mind. Lots of people wearing costumes, trick-or-treating, trick-or-treat on Halloween. So if my landscape were mistrust, it would be trick-or-treaters on a street. Chiara said her anger would be Vesuvio, which is the Vesuvius volcano in Naples. So that's her anger. Okay, we're going to do a quick recap again. So we have landscape 4, mistrust, anger, distaste or disgust, gratitude, jealousy, guilt, frustration, dejection, enjoyment, vulnerability, hate, happiness, love, solitude, pain. We have mistrust is a big C. Mistrust is a street with ice sheets. So yeah, when the road is icy or when the streets are icy. Okay, fantastic. All right. So the next one, if your shame were a landscape in this very moment, what would it be? Take a deep breath, think about nothing, just allow whatever comes into your head to come. A dark, empty box. Very similar to if you've seen Stranger Things, when 11 goes into the upside. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called now. The other world, basically. It's all just black. It's just nothing. So my shame would be this big black room. You can't really see if it's a box or not, but it kind of seems like it is. Okay. That's the kind of landscape that's come into my mind when I saw Mistrust and I focused on a landscape. Okay, all right. Let's look at the next one. The next one is appreciation. So if your appreciation were a landscape, what would it be? Big deep breath. Appreciation. Strawberry fields. Fields full of strawberries. Strawberries. Just a field full of strawberries. Don't question it, don't judge it, just let it come to you. Let it come to you, whatever comes to you is perfectly fine, because each individual person has their own feeling, emotion, connection with themselves as well. Okay. All right, fantastic. So we are going to move on to the next one. Harmony. If your harmony, the feeling of harmony you have right now is a landscape, what would it be? Appreciation is grass with many flowers. Okay. All right. Harmony, I've got a vision of lots of people sitting down cross-legged praying, very typical temple style, so Hindu or Buddhist temple style, where everybody's sitting down praying, and it's a very silent landscape, not a lot of noise. So my harmony would be a landscape of people sitting down praying, and it's silent. It's a very calm, silent landscape, one full of peace. Okay. All right. The next one, protection. So if your feeling of protection is a landscape, what is it? What would it be? Take a deep breath. Let it come to you. A dam, a big dam, like a huge concrete dam that you can find in so many different countries. Here I've seen in Italy they actually do some bungee jumping down over some dams, the ones that I know. I don't know how often that happens, but yeah. Okay, so if my feeling of protection were a landscape, it would be a big dam, a very, very big dam. Okay. All right, so this is going to be the last one now, guys. Impatience. If my impatience were a landscape, it would be a tractor going through a field, cutting whatever it is, the crop that's there. So my feeling of impatience is a tractor chopping through the crops in a field. We have protection is a green field. Great. Okay. So I want to say thank you to everybody for your feedback. Thanks for joining in, and thank you for connecting with your emotions. Thank you for taking the time out to work on yourselves, to develop that emotional intelligence, which will then give you much healthier relationships. First starting with yourself, and then going outwards towards other people, because emotional intelligence works when we recognize our own emotions. We're able to connect with those emotions. We can manage them so they are appropriate. They help us to be motivated. So there's that level that we were talking about, the balance of gratification, whether we do it first, that impulsiveness, or whether we're able to wait. Empathy, feeling and understanding what other people feel. And this exercise helps us also to understand that other people feel emotions, manifest emotions, and see emotions in a very different light to the way we see them. And then building healthy interpersonal skills. And these are the tools that we need in order to live a healthier and emotionally healthier life. How is it related to the left side of the brain? When we make decisions, it's not just rationality that comes into play. Our whole body, our whole system, brain, heart, mind, all work together when we need to make a decision. Whether it's a decision about work, whether it's a decision about love, whether it's a decision about when we're driving, in that moment we need to make a decision. The idea of all of this working together, this left and right side of the brain, is actually key to making the right type of decision. So when we're at the point of making a decision, everything that we've experienced before in our lives, the emotions that it brought us as well. So whether this emotion that we have when we made a previous similar decision, or we're in a similar situation, or something that our brain thinks, oh, I've seen this before, they all come back to us. They all come into this decision making process. So we may think that we're being very rational, which we are, but it doesn't happen alone. It also happens with the right side of the brain. When they connect together, they make a lot of amazing and wonderful choices in our lives that can help us have healthier and more appropriate reactions and appropriate decisions for our lives. Okay, so I want to say thank you very much for everybody for joining. I want to say thank you so much for taking the time out to be part of my emotional intelligence and my emotional growth, my personal growth. Thank you for taking the time out for working on yourselves. It's really, really important, and I appreciate every single person who's here and everyone who's going to be watching this later on, because it is recorded and it will go on to our Facebook page and it'll be on our Instagram. So you can, I don't know if it's backwards or not for you guys, but it's Emotions Games, at Emotions Games for Facebook and Instagram, and you can use the hashtag Emotions Games anytime you post something, or you could follow the hashtag Emotions Games tag for all the kind of updates that we have. Check us out on Instagram, check us out on Facebook. We also do different live sessions in Italian, and there's always me in English. So thanks everybody, thank you for joining, and I will see you again next Sunday, again 5 p.m. Italian time, so Central European time. Bye, thank you.